Good evening, everyone. I'm Daphne Gordon. I'm the director of the Entrepreneurial Assistance Center at Suffolk County Community College. Welcome to our webinar, our COVID-19 pandemic small business recovery webinar series. This is the first of our series to assist small businesses with recovering from the pandemic. Before we get started, I just want to talk a little bit about the Entrepreneurial Assistance Center. We are an economic development force on Long Island, a resource to help individuals start and expand their businesses. So we do that by offering workshops and seminars, and and technical assistance. And technical assistance in the form of webinars and in the form of one-on-one meetings with business counselors. So if you have an idea, we'll help you turn that into a business opportunity. If you have an existing business, we'll help you grow that into a flourishing business. Some of our assistance includes a 60-hour training program on a basic business model, which is marketing, management, taxes, and finances in the law. And in that 60-hour training program, you're developing a business plan and you're identifying resources that will be helpful to you to grow your business. We also have a webinar series or business series focused on minority and women business certification. So that series will help you secure certification as a minority and women-owned business with New York State, and then we'll help you identify contract opportunities. Once you secure that contract, we'll help you find funding to finance the contract. So we have a wealth of resources to help you start and grow your business. So we'll have our social media links in the chat area so you can connect with us. We're doing a host of webinars. This is our first, as I said. And tonight we are fortunate to have Ms. Tina Peltzer, who is a relationship manager with Lendistry. And Lendistry is an organization that New York State has charged with overseeing the grant program. It's the COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant. And like I said, this is a grant and it's not a loan. And we have so many people always coming to us, I need a grant, I need a grant, I need a grant. I'm like, they don't exist, for a for-profit business. But because of the pandemic, now they do exist. And this is an opportunity to get funding for New York State to help you support your business to get back on its feet. So we're going to talk about the lending program today. And then at the end of this workshop, we're going to talk about our future webinars to help you get a grasp as to how you can use the fund to grow your business. So for instance, we have a webinar next week to talk about how you can use the funding from your grant to help you with your marketing efforts. So this is going to be an ongoing series. And so connect with us. I mean, if you're on the webinar, we have your email address and we will forward you emails of our schedule. But if you know of anyone else who might be interested or might be in need of assistance with their business, please let them know about what we're doing. So I'm gonna turn the floor over to Ms. Tina Peltzer, who's gonna really go through in detail as to what it takes to get one of these grants. So Ms. Peltzer, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. Lendistry is very excited to partner with New York on the Small Business Recovery Grant. We are the fintech company that is charged with actually providing the support to process all the grant applications. So what we're going to go through today, and I'm going to share my screen. Again, as Daphne explained, I am a relationship manager with Lendistry, and all that means is that I help to connect people like Suffolk County with applicants like you to get through the process. And I'm also here to answer questions, the finite questions that might happen. So in saying that, you are very welcome, whether you're on Facebook Live or if you are in the Zoom, you're welcome to put your questions in the chat. There is a team that they have put together to help answer questions. We're also going to pause just a moment just to see if there are any questions that come up that the whole audience would probably want to hear. But we're just going to go through what the website kind of looks like, and we're going to go through the application just so you can see and know what to expect. Some of you may be familiar with it because you may have already applied. Some of you have not, and you don't know what the opportunity is. But we want to open up the floor and we want you to spread the word, right? share the word that this opportunity is out there, is specific to small businesses. Today, we're going to go through the guidelines, like what do you have to do? Who do you have to be? What documents do you need to qualify? All right, so the first thing is, can you guys see my screen? Somebody can just give me a thumbs up or say we're good.
Yes, we can see your screen.
We're all good? Okay, great. All right, so the first thing is the website. I'm going to do everything through the website. So what I see, if you go to the website, you can see it. That way you have access to everything. The website is NY, smallbusinessrecovery.com. You can see up here. And this is the landing page for the site. The first thing people do is they jump on the site and they go, where's the application, right? Well, the application is not until you get to the bottom of the page, and that is by design. It's on purpose so that you can have all the information that you need first before you start applying, because there is a process to this. As you can see here, that at the top of the page, you'll see the home. You'll see a button here that talks about partners. Now, Suffolk County Community College is a partner. They would be someone that you would go to for the resources. You're on this call with them. They're who you would go to ask the questions, to get some insight. But we have accessibility to partners by county and by language. So if you have a language that, that's not English, we have up to, I think it's 17 languages that we cover. And then the information also, and I'll show you when we get down, the 13 languages that this form translates into. And while we're on languages, let me just move this down a little bit. As you can see up here, there's the translate button. When you click that button, flags will come up, and then you will just select the language that relates to you. All right. So I'm going to dive a little bit into this first page. Again, this toolbar at the top are your quick two buttons. It gives a list of webinars like the one that we're on today. You can click on another one to see kind of what webinars are available. It gives you a calendar. And you can get videos. The videos kind of give you tutorials on how to do the actual application. And then there's an FAQ. That's frequently asked questions that you might have pertaining to the application. I'm going to go back to our home button, and I'm going to scroll down to this main page, because this is where you're going to get the bulk of information. As you can see, it gives an overview of the program. It's funded by the state of New York, and it's specific to small businesses that are 100 employees or less. All right, as you can see here, all of the guidelines and outline to what the grant entails is kind of summed up here. Grant awards are calculated based on your revenue from 2019, and a business has to have made at least $25,000 in 2019, and up to $500,000 in 2019. All right, and then you can see here how it's broken down. The awards are based on this criteria here. And the smallest award right now is at $5K. And the largest goes according to percentage after you are over 100,000 in revenue. All right, so for example, if you're 200,000 in revenue, the award is 10% of that. All right, and again, these are grants. You do not have to pay it back. But we'll get into it later. You will be self-certifying on an agreement that says you agree to spend the funding directly related to your business, especially for recovery for COVID. And then as you get into it here, and again, a lot of people, if you guys are like me, it's like, all right, let's get to the heart of it. How do I apply? But you really want to kind of dive into what you're applying for, why, if you're eligible, and if you're not, before you take the time to actually go in and start this process. Eligible applicants, it shows you right here, you have to have been in business before March the 1st, 2019. All right. And then you can see that in the guidelines, which I'll show you guys. And then you have to show at least $1. We'll get into that. So your profit for 2019 on your IRS tax returns, meaning your net, it would show up probably on line 31, that your profit needs to be at least $1 in 2019, not in 2020. All right. The things that make you ineligible would be if you are a nonprofit, church, religious organization, they are not eligible for this particular grant. But again, go to your network and find out what other resources are out there for that. And then the list goes on here as to who's ineligible. The one thing I want to point out here is that if there are companies or organizations that have received the Restaurant Revitalization Grant, you have to pick. You have to either do this one or the Restaurant Revitalization. We do understand there are a few people that are kind of caught in the middle, that they applied for the Restaurant Revitalization Grant, but they haven't heard back yet. That's where you would have to make the choice if you do apply for this and you are awarded the Restaurant Revitalization grant, the state is asking and expecting that you would report that. And you would have to choose between the two grants. I want to put that out there. It's been a big deal with many other organizations that we've been doing webinars with. And then it lists all the other specific things that make you ineligible. The use of funds is here. It tells you how you should use the funds. And it really is to recover, right, from COVID, payroll, expenses, rent, utility costs, things like that. On the left, you'll see the eligible things, and it tells you what you must have. Again, your gross receipts need to have, if you made $10,000 in 2019, you would not be eligible. You need to make $25,000 or more. And that's legislation, not Lendistry. That's New York State legislation. And you can't make over 500,000 for 2019. And if you notice, it says or, so it's not for both. It's whichever one, and mainly it goes to the 2019 taxes. It also lists the things that you would need that would be in that tax. You need a full tax return. Many people only upload their Schedule C or their Schedule F, or they only upload one part of their 1120. You need to upload the full filed tax return. That's very important. As you can see here, what we already discussed, you have to have a profit, a positive net profit in 2019 of $1 or more. And then it lists the other criteria. One important thing you want to show, which is very important, you guys show a 25% loss from 2019 to the same period in 2020. So for example, the first quarter, let's say from January to March, if you made $10,000 in 2019, that same quarter in January to March in 2020, you need to show a 25% loss. Those of you who filed a PPP for the second round, you will be familiar with this process of showing the loss for 2020. And then it goes through the other things that you guys can kind of read over: ineligible use of funds, and then some additional information that you guys can go into. Right here's the application guide. It's provided in 13 different languages. And what this is what I mentioned earlier, the self-certification guide. What you want to do is you want to download this. As you can see, there's a button here. You're going to download it on your device. And let me back up a bit. The best thing to do when you're applying for this, we try to encourage people not to do it on your cell phone, but if that's what you have, you can still do it on your cell phone. But it's better on the computer. And then it also is better if you process your application using Google Chrome. The system and Google Chrome just seems to work better across the board with processing the application. So try to use Google Chrome and try not to use a cell phone, but if you have to, you're more than welcome to do that. You want to download this application certification. This is where you will self-certify that what you're saying is true, what you're putting on the application is true, and that if you are awarded, you will use the funds appropriately. The key to this is when you download it and you save it to your computer or your device and you name it. Just like you would save any other document or file, preferably a PDF, you name it, because when it's time for you to upload your documents, you're going to need to go and search for it in your device and upload it there. That leads us into the required documentation. Now, this varies depending on how you file your taxes. So how you identify as a business would relate to how you file your taxes. And this section here, it tells you what you need to do depending on your business. And as you note, if you can notice, pay close attention, one of the following, it does not need to be every one of these items, one of the following. And when it comes to your proof of business, location, and your current operations, two of the following, okay? So don't be overwhelmed at the list. Just, you need to have one of these and two of those, And as it relates to the taxes, this is a must. You must have your 2019 and your 2020 completed filed tax return. That is a must. It's not an either or. All right. And it lists the types of taxes that you would file. The other things, the schedule of ownership. You just need to be 20% or more owner. And then your proof and number of employees if needed, if you file an NYS 45 form. And then towards the end, if you are awarded, you will have to do a W-9 and share your banking information. That's for direct deposit. And then we get here, again, the FAQ that's at the top is located here again. And then, boom, we can start applying. Now, one helpful hint all the way down here at the bottom, this number, you want to put it in your back pocket. This is the call center number. This number is who you're going to call if you have an issue with once you start putting your application in. You can call this number with questions. If you did something and say you put in a 2019 number rather than the 2020 revenue number, or you filled something out wrong in your app, you're going to call this number because they're going to verify who you are, and then they'll make the adjustments that you need to make. But they're also there to help with questions, direct support with your application as well. So kind of put this number there. The other big thing to remember, especially when it relates to calling the call center, and not just the call center, but what you should expect as far as an applicant, you're going to get a phone call and or emails and or text messages if you opt in from Lindustry. It's going to be various numbers. It could be a California number. It could be a New York number. If you applied for the grant, you want to answer the call to some of the random numbers that we like to push and not answer. You want to answer that call because we're probably calling for something, but you will get an email and or a text if you opt in for that. So just remember that. A lot of the numbers will come from a 717 California number, okay? So I'm going to pause there for a moment. I'm gonna go back to the top, and I'm gonna pause there for a moment, and I'm gonna ask our hosts, do we have any questions in the chat on Facebook or here on the Zoom?
The Zoom is currently clear.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any questions through Facebook? No, think we're good? All right. So I'll jump into the next part, which is the actual application part. And we're going to do an application. Give me a moment. I am going to stop sharing my screen and then get to the application. That way you can actually see what the application looks like. And let me know if there's any point that I need to slow down or I need to do anything else. Give me 1 second. Let me just get my email address so we don't do duplicates. And as I'm pulling this up, you want to remember, if you make a mistake on your application, it's okay. Do not put in a second application, because once we have duplicates, it slows up your process extremely. It slows it down a lot. So try not to put in more than one application. And that way it'll be easier for you to get processed and go through. All right, so I am going to share screen again. Someone let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
We're all good? Okay, awesome. All right, so once you'll start your application. As you can see this screen right here, when you push click to apply down at the bottom of the original page, you'll come up to this screen here, and you've got two options. You click here to apply, or if you've already applied, you just go in here and you sign in. Please keep in mind that as soon as you apply, within moments, you will get an email. So you have to check your email address after you apply for your username and your login. That gives you access to the portal. It also shows you here that there are some helpful tips. It's really good to watch the video before you start it. But if you want to dive in, feel free to dive in. Give some tips, use Google Chrome as we talked about, and then watch your pop-up blockers. The pop-up blockers sometimes stop some of the things from going through on the application, and it's hard to get to the next step. All right, so you want to clear your cache and clear your pop-up blockers. All right, so we're going to go here to click here to apply. Again, you get on a landing page and it shows you all of the things that you need. This is the third time that you get to see it before you actually go in. That way you can say, do I have all my stuff together? Helpful hint, those of us that might be tech savvy, or if you're like me, I have an 18-year-old and I say, hey, come help me out. Even my 9-year-old, help me out here. Help me put my documents in a PDF format and then put them in one file. Even if I have it on my phone, the notes section on my phone, I can put it there. I can email it to myself. You want to have those documents in place when you're applying, so you can just click the button and upload it. Now, don't be discouraged if you don't. As you can see, you have 14 days to get those documents in. All right, so you have a little bit of time, but try your best to organize it before applying. If not, get it together and pop them in. All right, so we're gonna go in here. As you can see, it gives you a whole bunch of other stuff. The tips again, here is the assistance and helpful note. When you call the call center, we do have multiple language specialists that are there to help you. All right, so it doesn't matter what language you are, you can call in and we will get you to the right person so that you can get your application in. All right, we're gonna go to apply now. There we go. As you can see, the application comes up and it takes you through a series of questions and answers. And as you can see, it won't even let me get through the first part until I enter in all this information. What's very important is that you go from left to right, like you read a book, from left to right rather than up and down. So some of my information is already here, but I'm gonna go ahead and just start this really quickly and show you how quick it is to actually do this application and get through this process. All right. And if there are questions coming through, Jennifer or Jay, feel free to shoot while we're doing this, just so that everybody can kind of see this process and we can do two things at one time. All right, so I'm just making up my business here. Okay, referral partner is Suffolk County. Let's see, here we go. You guys come up there. My preferred language is English. Take a quick note that I'm going to click I accept the SMS. That means I would like for Lendistry to text me updates, text me. And this is not, Lendistry will not text you marketing. They will only text you pertaining to this grant that you filled out. So text messaging, I know, is, from our experience, has been the best way of contact. And it gives it to you right in the moment so you can get done what you need to get done. So we're going to check that off. And then we're going to
have a question.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
It says, are there limits how the grant funds can be used?
There are limits, and that would be in the guidelines that we discussed. If you go on that landing page on page 1. So for example, a limit would be you would not pay your home mortgage or rent, but with the funds that you would get, you could pay your business mortgage and rent. And you would not use these expenses, these funding for personal expenses. I hope that helps. But that information in detail is what we went through on page 1, but it's also in the guidelines that is listed on the website. Any other questions?
Yes, hi. Can you use it for any business expense, or are there specific business expenses?
Particularly any of them. The list of them really is, it can be the health insurance, it can be the products. Let's say if you own a barbershop or something and you got to get products, or a cleaning agency. It can be anything that relates to the business.
Thanks.
Mhm.
There is another question. Is what if you did not make 25,000 in 2019? Are there any other grants that clients should look into instead?
Yeah, unfortunately, the legislation has put a cap on 25,000 for 2019. I'm not sure if, and Suffolk County, you guys can probably help with this. There are a few federal programs that are out there that would target that group. I'm not sure if you guys know about the EIDL, Targeted Advance, and the supplemental. That might be one, but that all depends on eligibility as well, but it's not according to the revenue. So that one might be one. I'm not sure of others that are there. Any other questions? Right? All right, so we'll click continue. As you can see, green light shows up, data has successfully been saved. You'll see this throughout the application process. And now it gets us into the grid of things, right? We can see everything else that we're about to fill in. So as we're going through this, you see it already auto-populated, my name, email address, and phone number. All right, and I am going to put my address as 12345 my way. Don't have a address. I'm sorry, I don't have a second address. And I am going to, my city is going to be, first one that came to mind. State is going to be New York. And please shoot away at the questions as we're going through this. County, I'm going to say Suffolk, which I probably have the wrong zip code in there, but this is a demo. There we go. Date of birth, you must be 18 or older. So I'm going to make myself younger today if you guys don't mind. I'm going to be born in 1992. Might have been a good year. August, and we're going to go with the 8th. All right. And then we're going to put in this here. And my percentage of ownership is going to be 100. You guys can put in the percentage that really relates to your business. I'm going to accept the terms. Remember, you have to accept the terms through each section. All right. And then you can click save and agree here, or you can go on. I always click save and agree just so that I'm safe that the information has been saved, just in case my computer dies or something happens in the process, right? So then it starts to repopulate the business information again. Tina's Place, I don't have a DBA. So I'm going to put in here, as you can see in blue, you have to type the word none. All right. You don't want to leave it blank or it will not let you move forward. All right. My entity number is, my EIN number, I'm sorry, is no dashes here. All right. And then my phone number. Oh, you see how it told me that I didn't have enough? It's only digits only. I think I put a space in there. There we go. Phone number. Type, my business type, which is important. Now remember, think about your taxes, how you file your taxes. A lot of people with LLCs, they will list this and you'll see when we get to the end, you have the option to change it. Some people have an LLC, but they don't file corporation docs. You might still file sole proprietorship. So just remember to look at how your taxes are filed when you answer this question. I'm going to say that I am a sole prop without employees. That means that I am a one-man show. I operate my business how I operate it. I don't have any employees and I do it on my own, and I file a 1040 tax return. So I am going to put that there. My state of incorporation is going to be New York. What I want to kind of point out, we've had many questions that if you are between the New York and New Jersey, if your business is not registered in New York, then you will not be eligible, unfortunately. So if, for example, if you are registered in New Jersey, but all of your business or most of your business is done in New York, that would make you ineligible. And that's according to the state statute. Jennifer, I see your hand up.
All right, we have another question in the chat. It says, if a business grossed $55,000 in 2019, but earned $1 million in 2020, would that make them ineligible because of the $500,000 cap, sorry.
So that one I would have to take back. It probably would, just off the top of my head, because they would not show the 25% loss in 2020. So it would mean that in 2019, you were at a certain cap, but you actually grew your business in 2020. So that would not show a 25% loss, which is one of the criteria from 2019 to 2020. But I'll check into that just to make sure. But technically that's where it stands.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, keep the questions coming as I'm filling this out. And I live in Suffolk County and I do business in Suffolk County. Everything is over here at the community college, you know, because we love it, right? All right, I know I'm putting in the wrong zip code, but let's go there. So now data business, the business was established. If I put in 2021, I'm not eligible. If I put in 2020, I'm not eligible. I need to be March 2019, before March 1st of 2019. So we're gonna go to January of 2018 and say that my business started on New Year's. And then we don't have a website, but if you do, be sure to put it in there. If you don't, you need to put none.com. Don't forget to add the .com. Many people get here and they go, it didn't go through. You gotta put in the .com. All right. Then it asks you purpose of the grant. How can we help? Basically, the purpose of the grant is going to be all of everything that I needed to cover my business. I am going to say payroll costs for this particular one, but whichever one fits your greatest need. It doesn't have to be etched in stone that that's what it is, whichever one fits your greatest need. And then I'm going to check for my eligibility. And it gives you a button to click here. So if I know, this little chart comes up, if I've only made, my business made $70,000, I'm going to say that I'm eligible for $10,000. If you put in a different number here, once processing happens and underwriting happens, it will be corrected towards the end according to your taxes. Okay, so try to be as efficient as possible to put in the correct eligibility amount here. My annual gross receipts, as you see, it should match the tax return. That's going to be $70K for me. And then, was your business profitable in 2019? This is where you have to have the $1 net profit at least. I'm going to say yes. Number of full-time employees in 2020, I'm going to say just me. Number of part-time, I have none. Number of jobs created, none for 2020, no jobs. But some of you may have, so put it in there, it's okay. Number of jobs retained will be 1 because I still kind of have a job because I still have my business, right? Let's go back to 1. All right. And so now we get to the business demographics. B2B means business to business. So whatever your services are, you do go to another business. For example, Suffolk County is supporting other businesses, right? The other example, I own a food market. I'm doing B2C because I'm business to customer, or you could be both. All right. We're going to be fun today and I'm going to do both. What does your business do? We sell products. What type of business is it? If you notice, I'm going left to right. We are retail trade, and this list will change depending on what you select as what your business does. All right, so you see how it brought up the first 3? I'm going to change this and I'm going to say service business. And now this is going to change. See how it gave me a different list? So I'm going to say we are doing business services. All right. And just click the broad range that it falls in. Tell us more. We do service, personal supply service, all right? Am I woman owned? Yes, I am. Am I veteran owned? No, I'm not. Am I disabled? No, I'm not. What race am I? I am African American. And as you can see, you have a choice to not disclose it. We encourage people to disclose it because it helps us with data. And the biggest part that this helps with is that if we understand the demographics of our small businesses, it helps us to push for more funding. It's one of the things that kind of got us where we are here today because people provided this type of data to help support small minority businesses. All right, so what ethnicity am I? I am not Hispanic or Latino. I am not a franchise, and I am definitely minority owned. All right. This right here is the disclosure part. This is where you get into the grit of really answering the questions about you and the business. As of the date of the application, is your business still open? Tell the truth. Yes, we're still open and operated. Is your business organized as a for-profit business? Yes, you are, because nonprofits are not eligible. Are you in compliance with federal, state laws? Have you paid your taxes, right? State, federal, and county. Make sure you have your taxes paid. If you have not, make it an agreement. Call them, get a payment plan together, figure it out. You do have some time to do that. So if you're in a position, some of the other states we work with, there were applicants that they had not had the money to pay the taxes. Call and make an agreement, get proof of the agreement, and you would still qualify, all right? So right here, yes, I pay my taxes every year, I'm all good. Do you owe any federal, state, or local taxes prior to July 15, 2020? Answer this question because underwriting is going to do checks to see if there are taxes owed. So do I owe any federal, state taxes? No, I don't.
Tina, we have another question.
I'm ready.
All right, it says when answering the question about if the business is minority owned, does that mean that they have to be MWBE certified?
They do not.
Okay, and we have another question that says, are businesses from the entire New York City area encouraged to apply or just Suffolk County?
The entire state. This is for every business in the whole state of New York. Suffolk County is our focus tonight because the amazing community college EAC program wants to get you the information.
Thank you for that. I'm not sure if everybody's having this issue. The screen that you're sharing is minimized now, and now you're maximized.
Oh, okay.
So that switched for me. I'm not sure if that's switched for everybody.
Daphne, how do you see it? And Jay, how are we seeing it with everyone else? Because I'm seeing it.
I don't see it. I don't see it minimized. I see it as a full screen.
Okay, that could be an issue on my side.
Is anyone else? If anyone else has a problem, put a thumbs down so we can know if it's just Jen's computer or is it the system? Thumbs up, thumbs down. You know what? I can't see anybody anyway.
I don't see any thumbs down or thumbs up, but you guys let me know and if I need to make adjustments.
There we go. It came back.
Okay.
And now I have one more question. It says, does this apply for all profit businesses?
Say that last part again.
This says, this applies to all for-profit businesses?
Correct. All for-profit businesses qualify. I don't see any thumbs down or thumbs up. Oh, I think we got a little lag. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so Jennifer, pop in when needed for more questions. I'll keep going. We don't owe any taxes. Your business in the for-profit sector, yes. As you can see, arts and culture sector, for-profit is eligible. All right, so if you're arts and culture, film or acting, things like that on the for-profit sector, and you're a small business, you are eligible. but we're gonna say no. I'm not so good at acting, so we're gonna leave that there. Are you disabled again or veteran owned? No, because I answered that previously, but they're just double checking to make sure we didn't miss anything. Is your business set up as a worker cooperative? We are not a co-op. Those are businesses that have multiple owners as a co-op, and that the application process gets a little deeper for co-ops. Is this greater than 50% small owned by socially, economically disadvantaged persons? And goes into being women owned. To someone's question, you don't have to be MWB certified. You don't have to be certified in any space. It's just a question. It does not make you ineligible, and it doesn't take away from you being selected for the grant. So I am going to say yes, because my business is in a community that is labeled as disadvantaged. My gross receipts for 2019, I'm going to put that number here. Again, I already put it up at the top, so it was 75K. All right, and then my gross receipts for 2020 are at like 12, because I made no money in 2020 because the pandemic took us out. How many months were you in operation in 2019? Again, the full year, because I started my business in 2018. Has your business received any other funding related to COVID emergency? If you click no, you can see it won't go further. If you click yes, it's going to give you a drop down of what those other programs might be. So for example, if you received PPP, this goes back to what we talked about earlier, and I think I only mentioned a portion of it. If you receive PPP, you're still eligible. The only way you're not eligible if you receive PPP is if your grant was over, or your forgivable loan was over $100,000. All right, so make note of that. If you are a company or a business that received PPP funding in round 1 or round 2, and you received over $100,000, it will make you ineligible. If you didn't receive $100,000, you're all set. You're good to go. Any amount under that is good. All right. Also, it goes into the Eidl advance grant. That was the one that I mentioned earlier. There are 2 parts to that. There's the targeted Eidl advance and the supplemental. Those are both grants. If you got the Eidl loan, which it can be very confusing with PSBA, we've gone back and forth with them with this, but the Eidl loan has nothing to do with the grant. You're fine. But if you got the grant and you receive funds for the grant, depending on how much you received, it would make you ineligible if you got both the 10K and the 5K. All right. Do we have a question?
Yes, we do. It says,
Yeah.
how long will it take to receive the funds after the application process is complete?
So they go on a rolling basis. It's not first come, first serve. Let's just put that out there first. It is not first come, first serve. The time frame, it varies. I don't want to give a particular time, but from the time you put the application in, you should start getting some notifications within 14 days. And then it all depends on how soon you put your documents in to be verified. So we've had grants that were funded within 30 days, and we've had some that took a little longer. So that number varies. We don't have a specific number on that, unfortunately. But the quicker you get your application done and all of your documents in, make sure you're responsive, the quicker the process is for you to actually get funded.
Thank you. And I just want to point out to our attendees, if you're asking a question in the chat and I'm not saying it, I may not be seeing it. So make sure your message is going out to everybody and that I can read it from the chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. As you can see, this drop down goes on a little bit more. It talks about the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, and it asks you the questions of the things that you will receive. Please answer them honestly. The underwriting will do some background just to see. We can't see actually what you've gotten, if you've gotten anything, unless it's publicized. But we do ask you to be honest in answering these questions. Because later on, you will have to report these things on your taxes, all right? And you don't want to get into any trouble for falsifying information. All right, so, but since I'm still trying to get some funding, I didn't get any of this stuff. I'm gonna say no, I got no funding. Did you receive support from a TA provider? I sure did, from Suffolk County. That's exactly who I received some support from. Let's see if we're listed here. Don't have us on, I think they only have the technical assistance agencies listed on here. But if, and Suffolk, let me know if you guys want to be listed, we can fix that. But I'm going to say the Black Chamber. Did you receive any support from, oh, here we go. Here we go. You guys should be listed here as EAC. And here we go. I most certainly did. And this is to make sure that the partners, which would be Suffolk County and the other ones listed, that you guys have a direct contact, like they can reach out to you. We can know who processed their information through this actual network. Cdfi, a CDFI is a community development financial institution. We'll just say no here for the matter of that. Chamber of Commerce, I already said yes. And then we go into SBDCs. I didn't get any help. Those are small business development centers. And then do I need any support? I think I'm good because Suffolk County is helping me out. And then are you in need of a loan? And now these are questions, there's no right or no wrong to it. It's just so that if you need some support in the future, it says, hey, you can get some support probably from Lendistry or one of the other lenders, all right? So I'm gonna say right now, I don't need a loan because I can't pay it back. All right, and then I'm gonna go here to submit. Now, this pop-up is very important. You see this pop-up come here, confirm your information. You have to click yes or no in order for it to be completed. I'm gonna click yes. Now, if something is wrong, I didn't do something right, it's not gonna let me continue. So let's see if we did everything the appropriate way.
We have another question.
Sure. Oh, look at that. I missed something. See how it did not let me go back? Now, a lot of people will get to this and they'll say, well, what happened? I didn't know. We totally didn't look at the NAICS codes. Now, the NAICS codes are industry specific. So let's say you're in an industry of trucking and look, you have this handy tool right here that will help you find your NAICS code. You can click this here. And this is a must. And you just find the industry that's closest to your, and I hope my my screen went over so you can see it. You're just gonna go to this site here and it's gonna help you to do a search. You click here, you put in the name of your industry and it pulls up the codes. All right, it's really that simple. Uh-oh, let's not go there, hold on. Get out of your screen. Give me 1 second for this screen to disappear. Now let's go back. All right, so I'm gonna put in my NAICS code, 6-digit number. All right, now let's just check and make sure nothing disappeared or went off or there are no more red flags before I submit. I'm gonna go back to the top, make sure nothing else is red. And this is just doing your due diligence, but it won't let you go on if something's missing. We're gonna go yes, and then we're gonna continue. I think I smell success here. Your application has been submitted successfully. You get this page right here, tells you what to do. You'll receive a separate email. Use it to create your login credentials and activate the portal. All right, it's very important. So I am going to go to my email real quick. And here, number one tip, check your spam, your junk, your promotions. If you have a Gmail, check all of your mail, because if you don't, you could very well miss your email that's coming through saying, hey, here's how you log in. All right, so check in everything. If you have questions with the login, then make sure you call the call center because you've already put the app in. Do we have any questions?
Yes, we've got 2 questions.
All right.
We have, when does the grant program close?
So right now there is not a close date, so it's open. The state hasn't put a close date on it yet.
And now we have, does the business have to report how the funds were used?
You will not be asked for a report, and I say this vaguely because although we don't ask for reporting, you still want to be careful because it could trigger auditing for some sort. Like, it's not to say you're going to get audited, but we always lean to the safe side of doing everything appropriately. The self-certification that you do on the application certification part, that's kind of you certifying, saying that everything was true. So we don't need a report on the back end. And it's a grant, so you won't need to put in, unlike the PPP, where you have to put in the forgiveness, you won't have to do that with this grant.
Thank you. It says, are the funds taxable?
So that one, you will have to file it on your taxes. And I have to we've been pondering that, not pondering it, trying to get an exact answer from the state. So Jennifer, what I'll do is get clarity just to make sure. Right now, it says that they are, but that's not etched in stone yet. And I want to be clear on that question. So Jennifer, let's hold that one and we can blast it out to the network once we have the definite answer on that.
Okay, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Anything else in there?
Yeah, hold on. There's a couple. Hold on.
Sure.
We've got another question. Does the business have to be open before 2019 to request the grant?
Has to be open before March 1st, 2019.
Alrighty, we also have, what is the minimum gross income for 2019 eligible for the grant?
The minimum is $25,000 for 2019.
Can a personal,
and that's income, not profit. Now you may want to make the distinction, correct? You have to show a profit of $1.
Exactly.
Right? And you have to have a income of 25,000.
Exactly. So your business will have had to have made 25,000 in 2019, but your profit has to be at least $1. For example, you can't show a negative on your profit for 2019. And we know and we understand it's been a hardship on a lot of folks because quite often our expenses supersede, what we make in the business. But the state wants a business that shows at least $1 profit. So to be clear, 25,000 minimum in revenue, mean what you brought in, what the business brought in as far as dollars, and $1 as it relates to what you profited at the end. I hope that makes sense and helps.
we've got another.
And that profit has to be shown on your income tax statement,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
No other statement, right?
No other statement. So for example, if you are a sole proprietor and you file a 1040, that number is going to show up on line 31 of the profit and loss schedule C. If you're a farmer, it'll show up on your schedule F. If you're a corporation, it will show up, I believe it's line 21. But it shows where you have your net. It says your net profit.
All right, we have another question asking, can a personal checking account be used to receive funds for the business?
That is an awesome question, and we were going to get to that. Unfortunately, a personal checking account cannot be used. The state is requiring that you get a business bank account. Now, that is not to say that if you don't already have one, you can't go get one. The encouragement that we're encouraging all partners and all networks is to tell your businesses to go and get a business checking account. You will not be able to use your personal checking account to process the grant, unfortunately, by the state statute.
And then we have a question asking to please repeat the name of the other grants for businesses making less than that 25,000 for this grant.
Okay, one of them, and these are on the SBA website, the ones that we know about. We technically don't advertise the other grants, but this one is out there and it's a part of, not a part of what we're doing, but it's known to federally. It's called the Eidl Targeted Grant. Eidl Targeted Grant. And the second part to that is the EIDL supplemental grant. All right.
That's all the questions I have right now. Do we have any questions on Facebook?
There is no question on Facebook.
No questions on Facebook? Okay. All right. So we're going to get to the final part of this, and I am going to go back. Let's see if my screen will allow me to do it. Okay. All right. So we're going to go. You guys see my screen? Did it go back to the beginning screen where you can click here to apply or sign in?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So now we've applied, we've got all of our goods in. You're now an existing customer. You would have gotten an email that says, hey, here's your login and your password. It's going to prompt you to change your password. Remember that. So you're going to change your password, and then you're going to go here to log in. Let's see, I'm not going to log in as that person. Hold on. All right, it's telling me my username and my password are wrong. So let me, oh wait, I did this wrong. I put Yahoo. Okay, so it wouldn't let me, give me a second here. Let me make sure I put in the proper information on my application. Now, this has happened with some folks. Let's say you type in the wrong letter, like I did, like it seems like I did, on my application. So I missed a letter in my email address. That would be a problem, right? Because now I can't get the email that says, hey, here's your username and password. That's when we go to this number right here. And we call for technical assistance so that we can get in. All right. Give me a second. Let me stop share so that I can pull up the final part of this. So you can see the upload portal. And any questions, shoot away if you have more. Think of whatever it is you might have. Oh, I think it sounds like we're doing good with questions, huh? I don't hear any more coming in. So I did put in the wrong number. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen again. Get you guys to the last page where we are going to upload documents. And in that page, as I'm pulling this page up, it is a page where you're, right after you log in, on the front of the page, it's going to tell you your name. Hi, Tina, you've applied for this grant. Here's your DIR number, that's your application number. And then it'll give you the status of your application. So you don't have to you don't have to call in or, try to check out what the status is. It's going to show you every time you log into the portal what your status is. All right, and for some reason, my screen will not let me go over there. And Daphne, I'm going to ask you to jump in for me really quickly to go through a couple things. For some reason, my screen won't let me pull up my login page. Give me a moment.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll use this as an opportunity to talk about our next webinar. So This is, like I mentioned before in the beginning, this is one of several webinars that we're hosting. When I say we, Suffolk County Community College Entrepreneurial Assistance Center. This is one of several webinars, the first of several webinars we're offering to help businesses get going and get back on track after COVID. So we have another webinar scheduled for next week, because what happens, the thought is, you're going to go for this money to help build your business, but then we got to figure out, okay, what's the best use of the funds to get your business back on track? And so one of the key areas for most businesses is marketing. So we're going to have a workshop on how to invest in your marketing efforts, or the best way to invest in your marketing efforts to get your business up and running again. And so we're going to have Santos Morales to come in, and he's going to conduct that webinar next Thursday at 6 o'clock. And he's going to talk about different strategies for marketing. And then Tina's going to come back again to talk about, okay, now that you have a strategy to do your marketing, let's go over this grant process again. I don't think we're not going to go into as level of detail as we went in today, but she's going to be available to talk to you a little bit more about it. Because what happens is, you're going to learn about the grant now, but now that you have specific uses of the funds, you might have different questions, and Tina will be back next week to answer them. So that's what we're going to do. And so now that we have your email address, we will be sending out an email, making you aware, letting you know, login information and so on and so forth. And I also do ask you if you know of any businesses that can benefit from this information, and what business can't benefit from free money. Unless you made, a lot of money already, but then it doesn't really matter. But a lot of our small businesses, they are suffering and they're still trying to get back on their feet. And this is a resource that we're going to use to help them get back on their feet. So we have Santos. Look at Santos. He's here. He can talk a little bit about what he's going to cover next week. Santos, you have the floor.
I was going to say, if anybody here has a lot of money, I'm a friend. I'm available as a friend, as a personal shopper. It's very nice to meet you all. It's very informative, Tina. Thank you. And you look quite lovely. So yeah, and everything, I think that everything that Daphne had just said, I think it's important for small businesses to gear up. I love to teach this marketing and branding workshop, because everything that you do from the moment that you start telling people I have a business is marketing and it's branding. And so everything that you are doing right now to connect with other businesses connecting here is a form of marketing. And I think that as a small business owner, you need to hone in every opportunity to make sure that you make the most out of these connections, the most out of these workshops, the most out of these opportunities. I mean, this is unprecedented. How many times have we had, when we've been at this game for many years, Daphne, where we have money to give like this, right? It's unprecedented. So please take advantage of all the resources that Suffolk County has to offer, all the resources that your partners here and your colleagues and your other businesses that are here, make sure you network and please do come to the workshops. And I hope to see you on next Thursday.
Thank you, Santos. So Tina, are you ready to go back?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go through a portion that's on the website so you can see what I see, instead of going into my actual application. It's giving me some havoc because I work here. So, but I'm going to show you what you would see. And thank you, Santos. And all that you said is absolutely true. The advocacy is definitely needed. And guys, please get all the resources that you can. All right. So I'm going to share my screen again. We're going to be really quickly, probably got about another 5 minutes to show you here. But these steps are very important as it relates to applying, because you want to just kind of know how to get through it, right? So my screen came up, and what I did was I went through to the videos on demand, and don't know why they went to Arabic, but we're going to go here to how to upload documents. And it'll show you the portal after you get
How
your
to upload documents.
email address, and what
To
to
upload
do.
required documents, you will need to sign into the portal using the username and password that was emailed to you. Click Upload Documents and Bank Info. Before you begin uploading, be sure that your business type is listed correctly. Each document will be listed in separate modules. Click the down arrow to expand the module and locate the document on your device by clicking Browse. Please note that the file size must be under 15 megabytes. If your document is password protected, enter the password here so that it can be viewed by Lendistry. If no password is required, leave the field blank and click Upload Documents to upload the file. Once the file has been uploaded, its name will be listed next to the document type and a preview will be available. Check the preview to make sure you have uploaded the correct file for the document. The status of the document will change from pending to completed. If a document is not applicable to your business, check the box labeled NA. Continue these steps until all applicable documents are listed as completed.
All right, so this portion right here is what you'll see once you're ready to log in. The most important thing to know about this, you see that video was really short. It kind of showed the details. The red asterisks beside the first 4 documents are required. Those are things that every business, no matter who you are or what kind of business you are, you have to put them in. Your application certification that we talked about earlier, your government issued ID, please make sure that it is not expired. And your most recent taxes, which would be your 2019 and your 2020 tax return, okay? And it needs to be the full tax return. And then one of the articles of organization. Those 4 things are required. The banking info is not required unless it is time for you, unless you've been selected. As it relates to the banking, because this is a big question, someone asked it a little while ago. When you link your bank info, I'm gonna do this short video really quickly, but I want you to note, number 1, you must have a business bank account. Go get it. It's not too late, all right? So just go and get one as long as you have your entity docs, meaning your articles of inc or your fake and fictitious name by the state. You should be eligible to open a bank account. And then part 2 is, if you haven't been selected yet, you don't have to do it, but our banking system goes through Plaid. And Plaid is a secure system operated by Visa. It is absolutely secure. It is put in place so that we verify you are who you are and that we also protect against fraud. It also does a background check on, not background check on you, but background just on things that will keep us away from anything fraudulent happening in the banking end of it. What it requires is that you log into the bank account. So many people we've been finding don't have a bank account online, like they don't do online banking. You will need to set up your online banking to do this because it's going to ask for your username and your password for logging in. Now, it sounds scary, but we don't get to see your username and your password. It goes directly to Plaid, they verify it, and they say, Lendistry, hey, this application and this person is verified, there's no fraud happening, nothing in the background, they're good. It will pull, I think, the last 30 days of your bank statement just to make sure you're in operation. Even if it's new, don't worry about it, you're still good. But it's the safest way and the quickest way to link your bank account because the only way to get funding is by having a direct deposit. If you have issues with it, there are other ways, but that's not until you're selected. And we really stray away from the other ways only if necessary. All right. So I'll play this short video real quick and we do one more thing and we'll wrap things up.
Sign into the portal and click Upload Documents and Bank Info. select the tab Bank Info. Linking your bank information is a two-step process. First, you must link your bank account so that we can review your bank statements for activity. To do so, click on Link Your Bank Account to open a window for Plaid. Continue through Plaid and locate your banking institution. Connect your bank by signing in with your online banking ID and password. Step 2. Step 2 must always be completed regardless of the verification method you use. It sets up a direct deposit for your funds. Enter your bank information, including your business account and routing numbers. Important note, the business account name field is not your account type. This field is your account name, which must be in the name of your business and listed on your bank statements. If your business is a sole proprietor, the bank account can be a personal account, but it must match your name.
Ignore that part.
Click Save.
All right, ignore that part. That part should have been updated by now. New York State changed it. So it cannot be a personal account. It must be your business bank account. If your name is your business, that's fine, but it must be a business bank account. The other part with that is step 2 can be done without doing step 1. So you do want to go in and at least put your account name, routing, and bank account number, just so that it's already set up before we get to step 2, which won't happen unless you're selected. All right, so I am going to go back here and we're going to wrap some things up. Any questions while we are getting to the final part of this?
Yes, we have 2 questions so far. One question is, if you receive an SBA loan, how does that affect your application?
Loans will not affect your application.
Okay. And how?
SBA. It won't.
Okay. And we have, how is it determined the level of funding a business will receive?
So right here on page 1, it determines your grant award based on your revenue. So if you know how much you made according to your 2019 taxes, that is where your award would be based on. $5,000 if you're between 25 and 49,999.99. If you're 50 to 99,000, 1 penny less of 100,000, you're eligible for $10,000. If you're over 100,000, it's 10% of whatever your gross receipts are. The max is 50,000.
We are asking again to repeat the grants for businesses making less than the 25,000. Those 2 grants, what are they?
Yep, the Eidl, targeted advanced grant, and that's a part 2 to that, the Eidl supplemental. They both can be found on the SBA website.
All right, and we have another question. Are there any other documents, any other requirements after getting the grant besides spending it on business? In other words, is there anything else the business needs to do after receiving the grant?
No, there's nothing else the business needs to do but stay in business and grow your business. And like Daphne said, there's some things that are coming up on helping how you can use the funds so that you can sustain your business. So there's nothing else that you are required to do once you receive the grant. We will come back to the question just to make sure, Jennifer, the one that was asked earlier about the funds being taxable, we'll get some definites on that. But other than that, no, the businesses don't have to do anything else. Any other questions?
Jennifer or Jay, are there any other questions?
I'm good on my end.
Okay. If Jay is good on his end, that last part with the banking is actually the last part. I'm going to stop sharing. As you guys can see, the website is very comprehensive, but I will ask you that if you have questions, please direct it to Ms. Daphne in the Suffolk County Community College. But they can also come to me at any point or any time. No question is too big, no question is too small. We want to make sure we support you guys in every level of this. And in every way. So if any other questions come up, feel free to put them across, but get your documents together, do this application. We've only been on and we've started probably a little over an hour now. It really only takes about 20 minutes to do the application from start to finish. So I would encourage every business to go in and apply.
Well, thank you so much, Tina. I appreciate it. You gave us a wealth of knowledge and a very valuable resource to help our businesses to grow. And so we're going to couple that information with a little bit more knowledge of how to use those funds with our next webinar. We talked about a little bit about that. But I also want to let you know that this webinar was recorded and it will be available on our YouTube page. And so I'm not exactly sure we got the link up, but we will follow up with the link. So you will have access to not only this webinar, but all the webinars. Oh, Jennifer just put the link in the chat. But that our webinar, our YouTube page has all of our webinars that we've conducted this year and even part of last year, related to helping you with growing your business. So that's a wealth of resources as well. So if you just missed something in this presentation, you can pick it up again in the recording. So I'm going to end it now because we've been on here for a little while, and I don't want to overstay our welcome because we do want you to come back next Thursday. Okay. So thank you so much, Tina, for your wonderful presentation, and we'll see you again next week. Right? Yeah.
Yep. You'll see me next week. We will be here.
Okay, great. And thank you everyone for coming, and I hope to see you next week as well.